Okay, moving along, we now have a presentation from Dr. Paula Rytilä, who is the Chief Medical Officer and Vice President at Orion Pharmaceuticals, and she's going to present a clinical trial around oral levosimendan in ALS called the ODM-109. Well, that's the name of the drug, but I believe the trial is going to be presented now. So thank you very much for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me and you can also see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, excellent. So first of all, thank you very much, ALS Canada, for giving us in Orion this opportunity to present our ODM-109, which is an Orion development molecule 109, oral levosimendan for ALS. And as you kindly presented, my name is Paula Rytilä and I'm a Chief Medical Officer for Orion. So before moving into the details of our phase 3 trial, I just wanted to share one slide about Orion because you probably know nothing about our company. Orion is a 101-year-old pharmaceutical company. We originate from Finland in Northern Europe. And the company is both developing, manufacturing, and marketing human and animal pharmaceuticals and active pharmaceutical ingredients. And I have collected here kind of the most important figures about the company so that you get some understanding about our size and our activities. So the company's net sales last year were about 1 billion euros. We have 302,000 Orionees. The company invests about 100 million euros every year for research and development. And the main areas where we are doing research is central nervous system diseases, like ALS in this case, oncology and critical care, and also respiratory products. Orion has 6 production sites here in Finland, but we have our own sales operations across the European Union countries, also in Russia and some of the former Soviet Union countries. We don't have our own sales operations in the US or Canada, but we are working there with partners. And for example, our clinical trials we are running together with global research contract organizations. If you look at the different businesses where Orion is involved, you can see that these so-called proprietary products is 34% of our net sales, and this includes all in-house developed innovative molecules, and also levosimendan, which is already on the market as an intravenous formulation for acute heart failure. It's constitute part of this part of Orion's activities. But we also have a lot of generic products, especially here in our home market, Finland, and then we have products for animal health as well. Fermion is Orion's chemical plants, and they actually manufacture all the active pharmaceutical ingredients for our proprietary products. So we have the whole supply chain for these products in our own hands. We also do contract manufacturing for other pharmaceutical companies. And finally, here on the right-hand side, you can see the geographical split of our activities. So even if most of our activities are currently in Europe, we also have partners that are helping us promoting our products in the rest of the world countries. Okay, so then I'm moving to oral levosimendan for ALS. And I think the first part of this picture is pretty clear to all of us. Just wanted to highlight the importance of muscle function in the ALS. And we all know that diaphragm and skeletal muscle weaknesses are main reasons for respiratory failure in ALS patients. And also, even if ALS on orphan indication, actually the incidence is pretty similar to MS disease as well. And unfortunately, currently there are no symptomatic treatments for muscle function available for ALS patients. So therefore, we have now invested our activities on developing levosimendan for symptomatic treatment of muscle weakness in ALS patients. Levosimendan has shown positive effects on diaphragm muscle function, in experimental studies in animals and in humans, and we also have positive signal for a previously done phase 2 study in ALS patients, and I will share some of this data with you in the following slides. So this is a kind of a scientific slide explaining the mechanism of action of levosimendan, and I apologize of some of the maybe complications in understanding everything, but the principle is pretty simple. So levosimendan is a calcium sensitizer. It sensitizes both the cardiac and skeletal myocyte or muscle cells to calcium. It binds selectively to troponin C, and this is how it sensitizes the myocytes to calcium. So the idea is that more contraction force can be obtained in the muscle cells with the same amount of intracellular calcium, which is essential for initiation of muscle construction. And because this muscle construction force is gained without increase in energy consumption, it also allows the levosimendan to induce this sensitization without increased energy and saves energy in the muscle cells. This positive effect of levosimendan induced calcium sensitization can be seen both in slow and fast skeletal muscle fibers, and these can be found in the diaphragm as well. So this slide just summarizes kind of the preclinical data that we have for levosimendan. So as I mentioned previously, we have shown that it enhances force generation of diaphragm fibers obtained in experimental animal models of heart failure, but also, for example, in patients with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and also patients without chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It also improves human diaphragm function in healthy subjects, and we have also shown positive effects in a myasthenia gravis animal health model which mimics ALS. So therefore, based on these preclinical studies, we were able to show that by increasing skeletal muscle force and endurance, levosimendan has potential to improve respiratory function, muscle fatigue, and quality of life in ALS patients. And this gave us courage to move forward to further trials. And we then carried out a phase 2 trial called LEVAS. This was done with this orally administered levosimendan in ALS patients, and it aimed to demonstrate beneficial effects of levosimendan in respiratory function. This was a study with 66 patients. It was a double-blind crossover design with 3 treatment periods. And there was also an open label extension part to study the long-term effects. The study did not achieve its primary objective, but we had very positive findings, and we didn't have any unexpected tolerability or safety issues. We were able to show, for example, that the slow vital capacity in supine position was not decreased as fast as with the placebo patients. And therefore, we made a decision that we will start this phase 3 trial that I will now briefly go through. The study is called REFALS. So this is the phase 3 trial that is currently ongoing. It is also a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, parallel group, multi-center trial, and we aim to include 450 patients. More details of the study you can find from the clinicaltrials.gov. If you just go to this website and you type in the name REFALS or ODM-109, you can see the details of the study. So I will not have time to go through everything, for example, the inclusion and exclusion criteria. So please, if you're interested, you can always refer back to that website, and also you can find the contact details of all the study centers and also any Orion employees that are responsible for the study conduct. So this slide just briefly describes you what's going on in the REFAL study. So these 450 patients will be randomized 2-to-1, either receiving Levosimendan 1 to 2 milligrams daily or placebo. And 300 patients will actually get the active substance. The primary endpoint at 12 weeks is the slow vital capacity, which you very well know is a measure of breathing capacity compared to normal subjects. And this is measured in supine position, so when the patient is laying down. But we also, of course, assess the ALS symptoms, and there we need a little bit longer period to assess that. So 48 weeks is the whole period of the trial. There will be 80 to 100 clinical sites across US, Canada, Western Europe, and Australia. And I will show you the map. These are the sites that we have in Europe. We will also additionally have a few more sites in France and the sites in Australia. And then these are the sites that we have in the US and Canada. So details on the Canadian site, again, you can find from the clinicaltrials.gov. But the cities where we have centers, they are Montreal. There are actually 2 centers there, Edmonton, Toronto, Fredericton, Quebec, Calgary, Hamilton, and Moncton. So quite a few Canadian centers. And I had a great pleasure to visit Angela Center's center in Montreal, the Neurological Institute and hospital there, and I was really impressed how great site they have there. I'm sure the rest of the Canadian sites are as professional as well. So this was my brief introduction to the ODM-109 or oral Levosimendan. Thank you for your attention. We say kiitos in Finland, and I'm happy to take any questions that you would have.
Well, kiitos to you. Thank you so much for the presentation and for joining us here today on the Virtual Research Forum. Yeah, there are a couple questions. One is, so being that this is potentially a symptomatic treatment for ALS and focused on the muscle contraction, is it seen that if this is successful, that this might be something that would be additive with anything that can be found to potentially affect pathogenesis within the motor neurons or the other cell types?
Yes, I think that is our understanding and thinking, that this would be an add-on therapy. Okay. And of course, also in the trial, for example, the patient are allowed to use currently available medication, for example, so we don't exclude those.
So actually that leads right into the other question that we received, which was in most trials now are normalized to riluzole. Is this one also okay for those who are on Radicava or Radicut?
Yes. Oh, we allow patients that are on that medication. They just have to continue that medication throughout the study, or kind of be on the stable medication. Then we allow that. Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, that's all the questions that we have from our audience today. But thank you very much for presenting today on the virtual forum, and we look forward to seeing the results of the trial.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to fast recruitment as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Kiitos.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.